Yo, what is going on YouTube? This your boy Kamen Rider Zero Spike back again once again. Today, people, today we're here for Kamen Rider Revice episode 47, and we get the debut of Kamen Rider Juga in this episode. And this episode was very rushy. It was cool and everything. Yes, I love Juga. Like, this is a very cool freaking writer. Very cool henshin sound, and he's actually, in the henshin sound's voice is actually voiced by the Japanese voice actor for Vegeta. So that's like even cooler. Like, that's really cool. It would be really cool if freaking Juga had like a move called Final Flash. That would have been freaking awesome. But yeah, this episode was very. It felt very rushed to a degree, especially when it came down to Ikki's memory loss. But we'll get to that. So this episode, we see that everybody's kind of chilling. You know, we see that it's been some. We don't get like when, but we basically get basically know that it's been some time since we've defeated the big man, Mr. Giff, and basically the world. The world is basically kind of gone back to normal. Not really any demon attacks or anything like that. So everybody's kind of cool. We get like a clip show kind of recap type of thing where we kind of talk about like a few things that have happened. We'll talk about everything that's happened before throughout the series, and thanks to Vice, you know, him breaking the fourth wall and things like that. And we see that, you know, I guess. Daiji's like just doing regular stuff. We see Hiromi and Hiraku at like packing up stuff from the weekend, and we see not Hana. Well, we do see Hana, but we end up seeing Sakura basically going back to school and things like that. And we see that Love-kun is like just always out now. She can full on talk now, so you know, growth, huh? But we did see, and also Genta is back. He's back at home, but and stuff like that. He's back to making all of his wacky content, and you know, it was like a dominoes thing him and Ikki were doing, and we see that he does remind Ikki, say, hey, this is like the last time we did it, but Ikki does not remember that. So yeah, so we ended up after, you know, Love-kun comes up and knocks down all the dominoes, we do see that George has like completed his driver, and he is on the hunt. So we also saw when Hiromi and Hiraku are packing up stuff from the weekend, we see that Hiromi finds a picture of young George and Masumi, and you know, we end up seeing like them, and it's like an old kind of picture, kind of black and whitish, and we see that they are in like this room together, and we see like a stain. Well, it references that, you know, the weekend building is actually the building that George kind of grew up in, and we see that Takumi calls both of them up to upstairs, and we see this room. They go into this room, and there's a stain on the floor, and this stain has significance, and we're going to get to that in a minute. So we did see that Hana does come up and talk to Sakura, saying that, hey, I've come to say goodbye, stuff like that. After, you know, everything's over, she has decided to kind of turn herself in to pay for what she's done, as, you know, being part of the dead men. So so Sakura leaves, and turns out George wants to destroy all the demons, because he basically feels like now that you still, like, we defeated Gift, but you guys are still walking around with his genes, you're still walking around with Gift cells in you. So he basically wants to destroy the Igarashi family. The media also feels this way as well. They feel like, you know, even though Gift's gone, there's still people walking around with his genes and things like that, and you know, that I never would have guessed. Not really. I mean, it kind of was there, but you kind of never would have guessed that the media really knew a lot about what's going on. But hey, I guess they do, since they're reporting on it, trying to sort of kind of slander our writers' names and things like that, saying, you know, all the damage that has been done to the city, and you guys are still walking around with the gift sales, stuff like that. And we see Yukimi, she like turns the TV off and like, nah, don't worry about none of that. Don't worry about none of that. Be proud of yourselves. You guys saved the freaking world. So we see that Hana's walking by herself, and that's when she ends up seeing George, and George ends up attacking her. When he attacks her, we don't see it, but we know that he ends up beating Hana. She is laid out on the ground, leaning up against the wall with blood coming off her forehead. We see that Takumi it also goes and tries to take him down, since, you know, Takumi is now over demons. And we got to see a new like an old face, the kid, the content creator kid from a whole bunch of episodes back. You see that he's back, and he's talking to a bunch of kids at a little rally type thing. And that's what Iki and Vice, they're there to talk to the kids and see the kids and stuff like that. All the kids want Iki's autograph, and they don't want Vice's autograph or anything. So that's when Tamaki ends up calling Iki and Vice to come over and help him, and while he's getting his butt whooped by Juga. So that's when Iki and Vice run over there to help out the other two, and we see he ends up revealing himself, and it turns out it's George. George is Kamen Rider Juga, and we actually see a henshin, and this henshin was absolutely dope. We see that he has created a driver that does not need a demon, that does not need any type of demon help. It is purely on human genome. So it's kind of weird, because like we know that George has a demon, and this driver basically solely just works for humans. So I guess he's not really getting any type of boosts from his demon either. We see that this driver also combines all of the 10 genomes that we've seen throughout the throughout the series. You know, Iki's first like original upgrade forms and things like that. It got all this driver got all of them in him. It got all of them, and he ends up transforming. And this henshin sequence is absolutely freaking awesome, man. But he ends up trying to fight Iki, but then Iki stops. But then Iki can't fight him because Vice stops him and says that, listen, we don't need you fighting right now because it could possibly increase your memory loss. So I'll fight him by myself, and maybe you won't be affected by the memory loss. So we see Vice ends up henshining up into Gifford Rex, and he's fighting Juga, and he's getting his butt whooped. We see Harumi's also there to help with Hana and Tamaki. And that's when George kind of, before he henshins everything, George kind of explains that, you guys are, I need to basically destroy you guys because you're still walking around with gift cells, and the only way the world will be in true peace if I destroy you. So we see that he ends up being beaten by Vice. He ends up beating up Vice, but thanks to plot armor, he has to leave because his driver starts malfunctioning, saying it needs more tweaking. So we see that George ends up leaving, and they ended up getting Hana and Tamaki out of there. After that, we see Harumi go up and talk to George, and George basically explains what I just said earlier, and that's George really doesn't do anything. He can't really do anything because he's not a writer anymore, and his organs are like level 80 or aged 80. But yeah, so we go back to the Igarashi bathhouse, and we see that the three siblings are basically there. They're talking, and that's when parents walk in. And we see that this is the part that kind of got me weirded out, like this massive acceleration of memory loss. But Iki talks to his mom and dad, talks to both of them, and basically does not remember them. He does not remember his parents. And I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute. Where did this come from? I mean, I knew something like this would happen eventually, but at the same time, that's a huge jump from hey, I don't remember when we did this. I don't remember doing this as a kid or earlier in my life, to bam, I don't remember who my parents are. Like, it was weird. Like I feel like that should have been like something that kind of happened way earlier to a degree, but at the same time, it's like, dang, you jump right from I don't remember this as a kid to I don't know who my mom and daddy is. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, man, it really just felt kind of rushy. Like I said before, it really felt kind of like y'all rushing this. Y'all trying to do this. So after that, it's complete silence. Like, to all the people watching who are parents, how would you feel like the emotion Yukimi felt when like that happened after, the siblings went out? Like, I can't imagine not knowing, like, waking up and I look at my mom and I'm like, I don't remember you or something like that, remember anything like you. Like, imagine that. Imagine your child not remembering you at all. Just out of the blue. Not remembering you, don't know who you are at all. Like, how heartbreaking would that be, yo? So we go back to the three siblings and they're talking about maybe, fighting George. Iki apologizes for not talking about his memory loss. And we did see that Vice does apologize to his parents, saying that this is all like my fault. Like, if I did the things that I did, he wouldn't be losing his memories and stuff like that. And Genta's like, look, you did that to protect him. I know, like, you didn't want to do that. Like, he understands, but Yukimi is like, just, man, it's too overwhelming for her. She gets to that point where she crying, stuff like that. And Vice feels really bad. He feels really bad about this. So he ends up going to where the rest of the siblings are. He's listening on their conversation. They're talking about, how we're gonna defeat George and stuff like that. And that's when Kagero jumps in, and wow, Kagero basically says that, listen, we have to take him down. We have to take him down we have to take him down quick, so maybe Iki doesn't lose any other memories, and it doesn't seem like he's in a being able to be reasoned with type mood, George, if anything. So but Daiji switches back and he says that maybe if, since he's after us, maybe we should just give him our drivers and everything be straight. Like, we could squash it. Like, if we just can't transform at all, then what does it matter if we got gift cells inside of us? We're basically regular humans again. So let's just give him our drivers. And, so what if he doesn't take that? Like, what if he ain't fucking with that? And you just gonna have to fight him, because Sakura just want to beat his ass. Sakura just want to fight him and take him out. But Daiji, the in the middle brother, he's like, let's just give him our drivers and maybe everything be kosher. But Kagero, his whole thing is, we need to fight him and take him out, because he's just gonna keep doing this stuff. So we also see that George goes back to Masami's goes back to his grave, and he drops the demon's driver and Aguilera's driver onto his tombstone, and he leaves. And we see that he's probably going to most likely do this with all the drivers. But we did see that they ended up going to meet up with George, and they talk about basically, here's the stuff, like, we ain't got to fight, bro. And he ended up punching Daiji. He ends up punching Daiji in the face. And he ends up fighting George. He ends up fighting Jean. He ends up fighting Sakura and Daiji. And while Iki is like standing back, because they told Iki, like, look, man, you can't fight. Like, we gonna take care of this. Don't fight. He has to watch while his brother and sister are getting beat the crap out of by George. So after they ended up then we saw Sakura turn into base Jean, which I was just like, why? You got a whole new form, basically. You don't see Daiji turning into his freaking base form. But She realizes her mistake. She ends up transforming into Invincible Gene, but it matters not because Juga beats the crap out of them. So that's when Iki gets pissed off and he runs over and grabs the freaking driver. Is like, don't touch my family. And that's when he getting ready to hit shit up, and the episode ends up right there. But back to the stain thing, we see that the stain is the stain is the same stain in the picture that Hiromi found, and I feel like we should have already knew this. We should have already knew that George kind of grew up in that whole thing. Like, we really didn't get any type of, we saw it, but we didn't see that much, stuff about, Iki, not Iki, but about George and his dad, like, doing stuff together. And I feel like you should just planted those seeds a lot earlier, because we only got a few more episodes left, man. Geets is coming, so y'all gotta wrap this up. Like, it's just so much going on that in this episode that really didn't make a lot of sense. Like, you're still planting seeds. Like, we haven't seen Ortega yet. I want to know, like, is Ortega gonna do anything? Most likely not. He probably ain't got no powers. He ain't a demon no more. So Ortega's just a regular dude, But we see that, we know that Hana and Tamaki are fine and stuff like that. We know all that. But it would just seem, the episode just seemed very rushy. And yeah, but I don't know. We just gotta wait to see if all this plays out, and especially since, like, this has to be like the aftermath of the the Chimera / Daimon movie, Revice movie that we're gonna get later this year. And this movie most likely foreshadows something or something like that, especially about George's demon. And his demon is even in the Kamen Rider Chimera special. Like, he's there. Like, he's like the main boss, really. So it's just a lot. We're gonna be really confused about when it comes down to George and his demon and stuff like that. But other than that, you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys thought about this episode of Kamen Rider Revice, and I will see you guys next time. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'm gonna see you guys next time. And remember, stay Kenshined.